Okay. So I'm looking at the pictures from November 3rd, 2021. And one thing I should tell you is I know that somewhere I have 360 video of this that's really funny, but I don't know where. And once again, Axel is making noise eating because it's later at night. So I hope that doesn't distract the recording. So here I am outside the McDonald's. Let's see what time it was, if it'll tell us. 10:13 a.m. I'm guessing they started serving lunch at 10:30 or something like that. And actually, it was in El Segundo on Route 1, East something Boulevard. Let's see. El Segundo Boulevard and Route 1. That's McDonald's. And the McPlant, it was called, using Beyond Meat. And I think that, and I didn't know this going into this, I think that the Beyond Meat had been on Shark Tank or some other kind of TV show because the founders or the CEOs or whoever they were famous and people knew who they were. And I did not know who they were, okay? And I'm guessing that McDonald's switched over to lunch at either 10:30 or 11. And so, and the counter, there was this great sign, homemade sign, because, you know, I'm always obsessed with when chain stores make their own signage. It's one of the great tragic comedies in life to me. And here's a picture of the burger. And next to it, I wish I could show you. I mean, I can show you, but just not on this recording. The layout and the colors and everything of this sign is just horrendous. And in broken English, it says, "Would you be trying McPlant today?" And it's behind the counter. And I see. So when I got there early, I purchased a bunch of McDonald's sauces first, so I'd be ready for when the burger came out. Because my goal was to have the first video of the McPlant. And I'm sorry for being so slow here. I'm just remembering this as I'm telling you this, and I remember that it's an important story in the conversation about the whole thing. So I'm there. The founders of this company are there. And because of the time zones, this is going to be the first McDonald's in the country ever to sell one of these burgers, right? The press is there. All of the Beyond Meat and McDonald's social media people are there. And then it's me and basically every fast food influencer in Southern California is there. And I know how to use that kiosk really well because of the Sweetie promotion and the other things. And I know you've got to go and how to keep refreshing the screen until it resets. And then, you know, I was ready and prepared for this. So I ordered these sauces thinking this is going to take 5 minutes to get the sauces. And then when the burger comes out, I'll be ready. But I wasn't prepared for how slow the staff was there and how complicated they would find it just to sell me a bunch of sauces, even though I had ordered them on the phone or on the kiosk. So that kind of complicated things for a minute. And as that was happening and they're making the McPlants, this woman named Carly asked if it would be okay with her, if it would be okay with me if she took the first one that came off the line, because she needed to be the customer that bought the first one for her story, for whatever she was writing. And because I didn't need to be the first one, I was like, sure, Carly, go ahead. That's cool. Do your thing. And we traded information. She later wrote the article about me for Yahoo News, and I had wanted her to write it for Eater or some other, all of the big famous food blogs. I can't remember, the Takeout, Eater, all that stuff. They were all ignoring me. They didn't want to know from me. I don't know why. It was very upsetting. I pitched all of them stories multiple times, and they just acted like I didn't exist. And Carly was like, I'll get you a story in one of those. And she was never able to, but she did pay back the favor eventually with the Yahoo story. So this first McPlant comes off the line, and it's like the baby Jesus being born. Everybody's wants a picture with the first sandwich, wants a picture of her holding the first sandwich. The owners of this Beyond Meat company posing with her with the sandwich. I mean, it was absolutely absurd. Here's as I'm telling you this story, I'm looking at pictures of the press taking pictures of the Beyond Meat guys with the McDonald's manager and all this. Here, I've got a picture with them. I remember saying to them, I have no idea who you are, but I should probably get a picture with you. And it was during the COVID stuff, so we're all wearing masks. So these pictures are completely ridiculous. And I've got some video here of the kiosk as I purchased the burger. And I've got some video here of the Beyond Meat guys posing with Carly and her burger. And I don't even know who these people are. There's lots of people taking pictures of themselves with the different people with these burgers. It was really a circus. And so the next picture here that I'd like to tell you about is that, like, as they start coming off the line, every table in this otherwise empty restaurant starts filling up, and every table is a food vlogger, making videos at every table. And everyone's sort of like respecting each other's space to make their videos. But the Beyond Meat people are there with a crew, and they want to interview everybody and film everybody and all this. And I remember saying to them, because everybody else is making straight, legitimate videos, and I'm about to pour sauce all over this thing. I remember, please do not interrupt me. I'm going to sit over there. I'm not going to bother anybody, but don't film me and don't come up to me and don't interrupt me, okay? And they were like, okay, cool. I was like, if you want to talk to me after, fine. And they were like, okay. So I have the 360 camera on the table, and I didn't enjoy this at the time, but I enjoyed it after. The guys who started the Beyond Meat or whatever are sitting at the table to my left with all of their staff, this is a big deal for them, getting this thing in McDonald's, right? And they're all quite proud of themselves and all this. And I'm sitting right next to them, pouring sauce all over these, just destroying the burger for my TikTok. And as I'm telling you this story, I'm looking at pictures of the camera and the burger and the 360 in the corner. So at some point later that day or the next day, when I was at home, I watched the 360 with a VR headset. And instead of watching myself making this thing, I'm watching them staring at me with just daggers in their eyes or confusion, or I don't even know what they thought was happening, but it was definitely nothing like what they expected. Every other table, the people are taking a bite, looking at the camera, going, this is delicious, blah, 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 and I'm there just making a mess. And it was really a wonderful and strange experience that was such a perfect moment in the middle of this chaos that I was living in. Okay. Next, it's November 7th, And I'm back in Las Vegas. Probably because I was exhausted. When I really need to sleep, when I have the real exhaustion, that's where I go, is Las Vegas, because I think it's the best city in the world to sleep in. You've got tons and tons of luxury hotels that are relatively inexpensive. There's never more than 5 steps to either food or a bathroom. It's very comfortable. So I must have just been really getting exhausted, and I went to Las Vegas. And after I rested, it's now November 7th. And I went up to, what is that area called? Let me find the name of the area so you understand what I mean. Not Henderson, Boulder City. And in Boulder City, there's a classic A&W restaurant that's still in perfect condition. And on the way there was a brand new Dairy Queen Grill and Chill. And I filmed videos at both the A&W and the Dairy Queen, and both videos did very well. And I think it was because of the different color schemes of the restaurants. Both were situations where the restaurants were immaculate. There was no homeless people. I had the entire restaurant to myself. I'm guessing 11/7 was a Sunday morning. And I could also, and I'm just again remembering this as I'm telling you this, the colors in the dyes of the sauces at A&W at Dairy Queen were different. I had never gotten to use those colors before. And if I'm remembering properly, the sauce packets at Dairy Queen were enormous, like 2 or 3 times the size of a sauce packet at McDonald's. On November 9th, the Taco Bell Chipotle hack video that initially was not that successful, I thought. I don't know. I've got a screenshot here that it hit 1 million views. Now, all these videos at this point, I'm uploading multiple times in multiple ways, meaning some of them I'm speeding up, some of them I'm slowing down, some of them I'm playing backwards, some of them I'm starting in the middle. You know, I'm taking, and also we had, like I told you, we had multiple camera angles and or just multiple cameras running. So it's hard for me to know retrospectively which version of what had how many views. And it's why we have so many views on the channel, because if something went viral once, it really would have gone viral 3, 4, 5, as many as 10 times in a different way. So I just made a note here, at least one of my Taco Bell Chipotle hack videos hit 1 million views. And I remember at a certain point counting. I think I got up to 17 videos that the first time I had uploaded them had hit 1 million views. And they continue to get views to this day, which is surreal. Original photo on the beach. I thought didn't we do that already? Let me see. Yeah, on August 23rd. I don't know. On both August 23rd and 11/14, I say here that these are original photos on the beach that I would later use for collage. I don't know. And then on 11/14/01, I've got photos of some of the McDonald's receipts, just of sauces. These crazy long receipts, all sauces. And I was collecting these for a while. They all got thrown out at some point. Recording. Oh, yeah. So on 11/28, those hamburger talking videos that I told you about with the how-tos and giving advice, some of them I would just take TikToks with trending audio, you know, people saying random things out of context. They weren't doing well. So I thought maybe it was the background that was the issue because of what I had recently learned from the Dairy Queen and A&W. So I took a hamburger to Wendy's, the Wendy's on Sunset across from the library, Sunset and Highland, I believe. And I filmed a whole bunch of reels there with the hamburger talking. And I think the same day or around that time, I did the same thing at Burger King. I remember having the hamburger do horoscopes, not just in the live feed, but also as reels. Because one of my staples, when I used to go to open mic nights, one of my staple things I used to do that people would love is I would just print out that day's horoscopes from the newspaper and go on stage and read them. People always love having their horoscope read. And so I had the hamburger reading horoscopes. Oh, I guess I had not gone live yet. My first live was December 12th, 2021. I can't tell you for sure how many views that one got, but at least by December 17th, I was getting 2,000 views every morning. I don't know if we discussed the live streams or not, so I'm going to discuss them now. Basically, TikTok was pushing people to go live. See, I realized I wasn't making any money, right? I was getting millions and millions of views and spending thousands of dollars, and I wasn't making any money. And that seemed to be a problem. Not that I was doing this for money, but I always was hoping that at least the projects would pay for themselves. Everything I had done up to this point had not been financially successful. And here I've got millions and millions of people watching my work, and I'm still not making any money. And I was starting to get a little bit upset about that. And TikTok was really pushing everybody to do these live streams. And the idea is that in the live stream, people will pay you to have their comments come up first, because so many people are commenting so fast, nobody can read it. And I started making, I averaged about 6,000 views every time I went live for a while, but I was rarely making more than $1, maybe $2. And I'd go live for about a half hour at a time. What I would do is I would read horoscopes, and I would ask if anybody had any questions. If nobody had any questions, I would sing songs, usually Madonna or Frank Sinatra, or I had taken this really horrible music class in middle school that has traumatized me for life. And the songs that we had to sing in that class, Wabash Cannonball and Country Roads Take Me Home. And so I would sing those on the hamburger would sing those on the live stream. But a lot of people did ask for advice. And actually, I think this was probably the most helpful that I got to be to anybody, and in some ways, but also it got weird. So people would ask about basic stuff. Breakups, I don't have any friends, problems with friends, problems with parents, how do I get a job, how do I, basic stuff. And I would give advice, and people really loved the advice. They really loved the advice. And you could tell it was a mix of younger people and adults. And I can't remember the girl's name. I wish I could, but this girl came in to the live stream, and I never let anybody co-host. It was only by messages on the screen, because I didn't want to be responsible if there were children or anything else. I couldn't control that. And I didn't want to cause any problem for anybody. So anyway, you get the idea. And I've never wanted my work to be for children. And it has always hurt my feelings terribly when I work very hard on something and an adult says, oh, my kid would love this, or my child, like that hurts my feelings badly. Because it shows that they don't understand the work, how serious it is. And so anyway, I've never wanted to make work for children or anything like that. And so anyway, this girl comes in and she goes, I have a social anxiety. I've got to go to this event, and I don't know how to talk to people. I don't know how to meet people. And I said, okay, no problem. And again, I'm a hamburger. They don't know what I look like. They're just talking to a hamburger. And I said, you go to the thing, and you stand in the middle of the room, and the first person that walks by you, and I can't remember, let's pretend her name was Julie or whatever. I go, you stick out your hand, and it's a hamburger, it doesn't have a hand. You stick out your hand, you go, hi, I'm Julie, nice to meet you. How you doing? Julie, nice to meet you. And remember that person's name, and somebody else will walk by, and you stick out your hand, you go, hi, I'm Julie, nice to meet you. This is so-and-so, and you introduce that person to the other person. Now there's 3 of you talking. And now another person walks by, and you just keep doing that, Julie, And that girl came back like the next day or the day after, and she was like, oh my God, I went to the thing. I met so many people. I can't thank you enough. This really changed my life. This is incredible. Like, there was a lot of those that I remember that it was just nice, But then it got weird too, because every once in a while, somebody would come in the room and be like, this is so messed up. You're a grown-up talking to children and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know that these are children. There's a lot of people on here talking about their divorces and stuff. They can't be children. Like, I really had no idea who I was talking to most of the time. And I think that was kind of better in some ways. But it felt like a very pure and good means of communication. And I could tell when I was giving a lot of advice, the number of views would go up and stay up, and the number of likes would go up and stay up. And people would say that they could listen to me give advice all day. And I thought that was really sweet. And I also thought it was nice because definitely, my appearance with my weight has been a problem for a long time. And people do discount the advice you give them based on your appearance. And so to get to be somebody else and do it in such an incredibly stupid way, this wasn't a puppet of a hamburger. I mean, I had turned it into a puppet. It was a real hamburger, the bun, meat, everything. And it felt good that I was able to use that as a conduit to tell stories and to give advice. And obviously whatever I was saying was of such a quality that it still resonated with people regardless of the delivery method. And I thought that was just really wonderful, great thing. Unfortunately, it only paid about $1 a day, sometimes $2 a day. Anyway, and it became exhausting to do. I would get up, I would make a cup of tea in the morning, and I'd just turn on the camera and take a hamburger out of the fridge. And instead of talking to a friend on text or anything, this was my communication with the outside world for a couple months. Around this time, I'm also still thinking about how do we make it stupider? How do we make the videos stupider without simply repeating ourselves? And one of my ideas was to run over the McDonald's menu with my car. There was a McDonald's in an abandoned parking lot. And let me think about that story, and I'll come back and tell it. And the other thing is that the handle I was using to make the hamburger talk was starting to poke through the bun and causing all problems. So on January 7th, 2022, I had made some revisions of some kind, and I had created a better, improved handle for the hamburger puppet. All right, I'm going to stop, and then we'll come back, and I'll talk about the McDonald's shoot.